On. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Scrimshaw Show. My name is Evan Scrimshaw. Uh, because last week was a good week for me on the football betting side, I decided to run back Nathaniel Arfin as my guest. Nathaniel, how you doing on this fine? We are recording this on what day of the fucking week are we recording? Wednesday. Sorry, a presidential debate should not be on a Tuesday. I know this isn't an intro. Like, subscribe, do all those things. Give me, whatever YouTube currency. Um, a presidential debate, something as important as a presidential debate, should not be on a Tuesday. Okay, it feels like that should be a Wednesday thing or a Thursday thing, and it's like now there's still 3 days of this week left. Been totally discombobulated all day long.
And starting at 9 p.m. too. What time did it end? Probably like 11:30 Eastern, maybe midnight. Yeah, pretty
No,
brutal.
no, it was like a 100-minute debate. It like ran to like 10:45.
I mean, to me, that
Okay, but
is about
you're
as late
okay,
as
but
I
you're an
go.
old with a child, so it's not the same thing.
All
I mean,
right. Well, last week
if
was
you're
brutal for
ABC,
me.
you need as much primetime air as you can get. Um, NFL picks. You went 3-3 last week. The Browns lost, Les Titans lost, and the Dolphins lost. Dolphins on the hook. Tennessee lost because Will Levis is a moron. Um, Not happy about that pick six at all. Good calls on the Vikings, the Niners, and I don't remember what your other one was. Apologies. Philadelphia, yeah, fuck you.
Yes, the Eagles.
Fuck you for that one. Um, I went 4-2. Tennessee screwed me. Miami screwed me. Chargers, good job. Niners, good job. Don't remember what my other two were. Whatever. I'll look it up at some point. Um, it's we did good. It was a good week. Went 4-2. Went won a bottle of booze off of my boss for the lines because he is for some reason a Jets believer. um no, legitimately, he was talking all this shit in the group chat we have, and I'm just like, you want to double down right now? You want to do this game right now? Let's go, because I've got a couple season long bets on the Jets with them, and so I'm like, you want to go, and what, right after the McCaffrey injury, right? And I'm like, I, hey, I was right. Jordan Mason, the boy. Um, how are you feeling about the week two slate of games?
There's a lot of fun games to watch here. Um, I really, really wish the Eagles weren't playing on Monday Night Football so that I could actually stay up and watch the whole game. Um, but otherwise, there are some fun matchups.
Uh, I mean, you guys are also gonna win though, so that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I
like
can.
Kirk Cousins like literally can't move laterally, which seems like a problem.
Yeah, he
TBH.
looks scared right now. He looks very scared.
He
Very that
doesn't trust. He doesn't trust because he what torn ACL last year.
Achilles.
Oh, even worse. Yeah, he just very obviously doesn't trust his body right now, and so it's just like three stretch. It's someone described it. Maybe Mina Kimes, Ben Solak, somebody like that described it as 3 step drops and 3 and 5 step drops and pray as the
Yeah.
Falcons uh pass offense right now. Um, I don't know if I'll get there on the 6.5 just because it's Monday Night Football, dumb shit happens, and frankly, I'm not entirely convinced on the Eagles. You played well, but it's not like I'm a huge preseason believer on the Packers. So like, yeah. Um, like I think I was reasonable last week on the show about my team's chances, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to reassess now that we've taken Jordan Love out for what they're saying in probably 3 weeks with the MCL injury.
I mean, they haven't even explicitly said the words Malik Willis will start. It's will start if has been the verbiage. Um, which seemingly implies, you know, It's not. I don't think he's playing this week, to be clear, but like maybe next week we get him back. Maybe it's only 2 weeks he misses. Um, I actually that game. We'll see if I get to that game because that's sort of like in my like 6, 7, 8 right now. I'm going through these picks. As the loser of last week, would you like to make a selection?
Sure. Um, Tailing my Vikings pick from last week, I am going to continue to pick on the New York Giants.
Oh,
They,
I thought you were saying. I thought you were about to say you're taking Minnesota +6, and I was about to yell at you.
oh, absolutely not. No, I like the Giants. Sorry, the Commanders -1.5 uh versus the Giants. The Commanders are at home. They didn't look terrible last week. Like they're not a good team. They lost to the Buccaneers by 17 points, but Daniel Jones can't play football. He might be the worst starting quarterback in the NFL, and I'm including the Browns' unfortunate starting quarterback in that assessment. Daniel Jones is really bad at football. Commanders, they still have some pieces on defense. Again, not a great team, but I really think that they can win by more than a point and a half at home against the divisional rival Giants.
So I don't know if I'm going to get there. It's on my list. Um, but the best case for your uh the best case for you would be uh who's a better team, Tampa Bay or Minnesota?
I would argue Tampa Bay.
I feel like that's not a thing you would argue. I feel like that's a thing that you would steadfastly believe because it's correct. Um, so Washington was more competitive going to Tampa than the Giants were at home against the Vikings. Yeah, screw it. Washington -1.5. Taking it. I don't trust the only reason I didn't get there originally is Jay Daniels fucking sucks. I'm convinced that this guy is not good,
Yeah,
but he's playing Daniel Jones. And also, I don't
exactly.
think Sam Darnold is good, and he was like the best quarterback by fucking EPA this week.
I will fight for Sam Darnold. I really think that he got a kind of screw over in his opening of his career. I'm not gonna like stand for him, but he's not the worst QB.
You mean when he was seeing? You mean when he was seeing ghosts?
Yes.
Um, I mean, do you know the funny thing about the seeing ghosts moment? Do you
What's
know what
that?
else was on that same Monday night?
Was it Halloween?
The 2019 federal election.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It's one of my favorite fun facts. Look, Darnold was terrible as a Jet. The argument is, oh, it's the Jets. Okay, but then you would have to make a case for Sam Darnold or not Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, and I don't think you want to make that argument. Um, I mean, Baker Mayfield was able to dice through the Washington defense, but I don't think Danny Dimes can do that. Also, isn't Rome Odunze hurt?
Sorry, one more time with that name.
Rome Odunze, the receiver they
Oh,
just got.
yes, he is. He is.
Yeah, because there's some like MCL knee thing. So
Yeah.
that doesn't sound exactly like it's great. Also, him and Danny Dimes look like they want to kill each other. Um, so
You're
that's not
mixing
great.
up Roma Dunze and um what is his name there? Malik Neighbors,
Rome Odunze is in Chicago.
Chicago. Malik Neighbors, who went, I think he went one pick after Malik, Dunze.
Did Chicago have two top five? Wow, okay. I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. Point being, I don't think the Giants suck. So I'm
Yes.
fine with that.
And
Sorry for getting
just
my
for
divorce opinion.
clarification, Malik Neighbors not hurt, Roma Dunze hurt.
Okay. So Houston then on Sunday night. Not that I'm picking that, but that's just whatever. Okay. Baltimore -9 against the Raiders. One, the Raiders suck. Two, Gardner Minshew sucks. Three, the Raiders suck. Four, to the extent that they don't suck, Max Crosby exists, but Lamar and that offensive line just move the ball pretty efficiently against a Chiefs defense, which has a very good pass rush and Chris Jones. So I think that's not going to be a problem. And I kind of think so. My like main thesis for this play is Baltimore is the new Miami, which is they're just going to boat race bad teams. They finally have something resembling a decent pass attack or weapons around Lamar, right? He's not just going to have to run for 1,000 yards this season if he wants to be efficient offensively. Um, Zay Flowers is obviously in his second year. The tight end Lively that they just got is likely, not lively,
Isaiah
not like
Likely,
lively.
yeah.
Um, he looked good. They still have Mark Andrews, who didn't get much run last week, but like it, still theoretically exists as a target. Um, I just think Baltimore is just gonna like run train in this kind of game, and I have like real doubts about what they can do in big moments on big stages. Like, you know, I don't think any of the like bigger structural problems with Baltimore have been solved. I do think their biggest problem, like I think they'll be fine in this kind of game. I kind of think they're similar to the Dolphins in that they're just going to run train on bad teams. They're well coached. So like I don't think a Harbaugh team is gonna like get caught flat footed and get down like 10-0 in the first quarter. I think they're gonna score like 30-ish points. And I kind of trust a Harbaugh defense. This number should be over 10. I don't really know why it's not.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on this one. I agree the number seems very low for a Raiders team that scored 10 last week, and it was like, they had that one touchdown, the Alexander Madison touchdown. And that was a 31-yard touchdown, and other than that, they didn't score again until Daniel Carlson field goal in the final quarter. They're really, really bad. And while they limited the Chargers to no touchdowns in the first three quarters, they just don't have the defense that is able to stop a Lamar Jackson offense. So I'm going to tell you
That was a lot
on
about
them.
Herbert just not being on the same page, and like that's not repeatable.
Absolutely.
That's not repeatable. And the thing about the Chargers is A, not sure they're very good, and B, that's the first game in a Harbaugh offense for a quarterback who had a plantar fascia thing for all of the preseason. Like I don't think that's a sign that the Raiders defense is like systemically good in repeatable ways.
I would agree for sure.
Where are you going with pick number two?
My next pick, which is actually my third pick because I'm tailing you on that Baltimore line. Um,
Great. The group think Olympics here.
after the atrocious display we saw on Sunday, and with new revelations coming out about the Browns
You're
quarterback,
stealing my pick, but yeah.
I have to pick him. 3 points for the Jags. The Browns are an absolutely nightmare franchise. It's unbelievable how badly they screwed up their quarterback by going with Deshaun Watson. I really can't overemphasize this enough. They made the worst decision a franchise could possibly make by choosing to sign Deshaun Jackson or Deshaun. Wow.
Watson.
Thank you, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Watson is not a good quarterback, and he's providing a terrible distraction for the rest of the franchise. They are not a good team, and the Jaguars are going to beat them by more than three.
I mean, the Jaguars should have won against Miami. Like, I absolutely got bailed the fuck out by them just like forgetting how to play football for a while. Uh the fumble through the back of the end zone
Yep.
should have been 7 points, if not should have been seven, even at worst three, right? Like that being like a 10 or 14 point swing, I don't quite remember. Like that's just unacceptable. The Jaguars offense looked pretty damn efficient for the first three quarters. They got out of sync. Miami was able to send the blitz. Like I'm a little bit worried about Myles Garrett, but fundamentally, the thing about Deshaun Watson, and obviously fully agree with all of the like moral reasons they shouldn't have done this. They Deshaun Watson didn't play for 27 games, right? The 16 game season he missed. I think that was the last season of the 16 game season, and then the first 11 games of the next one, right? His arm hasn't looked right since then, right? The thing that has been true is that he is short every one of these passes. He can't throw a 12-yard out and hit a guy in the numbers.
And if he is getting the distance on it, it's way offline.
Right. Because like that, because he can basically only get the distance right if he's just chucking it. And if he's chucking it, it's literally 7 yards off, left or right. Um, like it's a horrible decision on football grounds, right? He can't play well. And this like dink and dunk. Oh, the offense looked a bit better in the second. The Cowboys were playing the preventiest of prevent defenses ever. I don't know if I've seen a defense actively not care as early in a game as the Cowboys defense did not care. Dak Prescott, and then the other thing, of course, is that the Cowboys had such a big lead that like I had Dak to get 200 yards in a parlay, and he had like 156 and a half and didn't get there because like he barely threw the ball in the second half.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they didn't have to play half the
right.
game.
And the thing is, like, I think a lot of my Jaguars optimism was justified last week. You know, they covered the spread. They very easily could have won. I'm high on Miami. Like, I think that was a good loss to the extent that you can have a good loss in week one. I think that pretty clearly was a good loss. And yeah, I'm right there with you on the Jags. God, we agree on too many of these games now. We're literally 3 for 3 so far on games. Um, Niners -6. I bet this. I bet this at -4 on Monday before the game started. But the Niners are the best team in the NFC and arguably the best team in football. I don't know why we're doing this. Like, oh, they didn't have CMC. Okay, but
They're
Ayuk
not going
played
to.
like shit. Like Ayuk dropped a touchdown, right? I mean, it's not the world's easiest ball, but like he looked at his sorts. He was barely used. Jordan Mason was fine. Like, yeah, the Vikings were impressive, but we both think that's more about the Giants being terrible. Like this number should be 7.5. It's 6. I still think it's value. Niners are like, what do you want me to say about the Niners? They're the Niners.
uh, it's going to be hard to pick against them unless this number starts to move significantly. I mean, this is still a Vikings team that doesn't have a real starting quarterback. I just spent that time defending Sam Darnold, but he's a backup.
He's
And
a he's a he's a high end backup. He's a low end starter. You know that's
and
what he's
like you
the
said,
25th best quarterback in the league.
the Niners are a Super Bowl or bust team at this point, and if they can't roundly beat the Minnesota Vikings, who are on their way up, or so they hope, then there's a problem in San Francisco. I'm definitely going to be taking San Francisco um -6.
I just
Yeah.
don't. Again, with this in Baltimore, it just feels like a very good team. It feels like we shouldn't be getting the hook.
Yeah.
Like, or it feels like we should be paying a steeper price. Like, I don't understand why we're under key numbers here. Um, where do you want to go next?
So this is gonna be my first contrarian pick, and it's against the Cowboys again. I do think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I want to be clear out of the gate. I just think 6.5. New Orleans, they showed that they can keep up. They had a great game, 47 points against the Panthers. They can score points, and while their defense is probably still garbage, I think giving the Cowboys a touchdown is too much for this game.
If it were 7.5, I might agree with you. I'm gonna point out two things. One, Micah Parsons against not the world's most mobile quarterback in Derek Carr. Not a great combination for you. And B, I feel like the Cowboys offense is going to be a little bit more put together after, because everyone's got their contracts now. CD and Dak will have like a full week of practice together. Like I feel like some of the kinks there. For 7.5, I'd be betting it. The concern is that Carolina might be the worst team of football, right?
Yeah, that's very, very fair. Very fair.
Like now, the funny thing is that my boss made this point, and I was like, okay, but you bet Carolina +4 last week, so you don't get to make this argument. However, I, as somebody who did not make that mistake, absolutely can make that argument. Um, you're just lower on the Cowboys than I am, and I think that's fine. But like, I don't. The picking on the Cowboys just doesn't feel like a game I particularly want to play, because if I'm betting a 6.5 point favorite, I think I'd much rather the Chargers against the Panthers, because again, I think the Panthers might be the worst team in the league. I'm only getting 6.5. I still think Herbert's the top. I still think Herbert's a top 10 quarterback in the league pretty easily, right? If Derek Carr can
Yeah.
put 45 up on your ass,
Yeah.
I feel like Justin Herbert should be able to put up 30, and I don't trust Bryce Young to put up 17. Like, I don't know. I Okay, here's the one case against it. Isn't everybody going to use the Chargers this week in Survivor?
I would think so. If I were looking for a deeper survivor pick, there's there's stuff on the board.
But like, it's just one of these things where it's like they're a mediocre team against a terrible team that everyone has just seen be terrible. And um but more importantly, like, when are you going to use the Chargers again? No one like really thinks the Chargers are like a powerhouse. So yeah, I'm gonna take it. I don't know if I'll use them in Survivor. I feel like a lot of people are gonna use them, but it's fine by me. What's your last pick?
This is gonna hurt for you, but I'm gonna go with the Colts -3.5 at Lambeau. Um,
Can I make the case why you're an idiot before you make the case why it's a smart pick?
sure.
Are we sure that Jordan Love is worth 8 points? Because the look ahead for this game was Packers 4.5. The pre-week one look at line. Now it's 3.5 the other way. Are we sure Jordan Love's worth 8 points?
I think losing your starting quarterback should move the line at least a touchdown. I don't know, 8 points sounds heavy. That seems like an overcorrection, but I think I would take the Colts well, I definitely would take the Colts at -1.5, right?
Here's the question. Do you think Andy Richardson's good?
I do. He looked really good. The snap he was getting on the ball was fantastic, and he has great options downfield. They've
Yeah,
done a
but this
great
the
job.
problem. The problem with Richardson is that he's the exact kind of. I know this is your pick, and I shouldn't be doing this, so I'm just going to make this pick.
No, no, it's good.
Richardson's my old college quarterback. I'm a Florida fan, so I have some experience with this. He's a great quarterback if you only see the good highlights. You legitimately think he is the best quarterback in the world. But Monty Jones did a whole thing about how, like, whether or not he should go in the top five, he's going in the top five because some team is going to fall in love with the traits and the again, that arm strength is incredible, right? He's like the touchdown that he connected on, the arc on the ball, that was some like Brett Favre in his prime, like all of that power, like Rodgers, like that's the type of throw where you go, oh, this guy could be the best quarterback in football. Totally get it.
And the other
I also
side of
saw that.
this
I also
is
saw the tweet going around with the 4 screenshots of the very open people and where the ball ended up. Okay, I think Richardson's
it's
very hit and miss.
but I think that the Packers defense has enough holes in it that he can connect. I mean, we just saw
Yeah, and
a
they could also
how
get
many
picked off four
points in that game?
times. Sorry, go.
How many points in the Eagles game? That was 63 total points between the Eagles and the Packers. 34-29. Green Bay Packers defense isn't very good, and if Anthony Richardson can connect with Alec Pierce twice, that's 2 touchdowns. I think that the Colts will come away with this one. I do think they'll cover the spread because the Packers aren't very good on defense and they're missing their starting quarterback. This should be a higher line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what it depends. Okay, what do you think the fair line for this game is? Love v Richardson, because I think you're higher on the Colts in general than I am.
That's possible. I would probably put it at -1 or pick 'em.
So yeah, you're just higher on the Colts than market is in general. So yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna fight you that. I'm not gonna fight you that strongly. Um, I mean, look, I don't. I'm not running to bet the Packers. So I like clearly don't feel that strongly about it. Or do we think Joe Burrow's like actually hurt?
I don't know what's going on with
Because like
Joe
the
Burrow,
video of him
man.
being unable to grip the bottle is like slightly terrifying me, and that is making me think that the words Chiefs -5 are sort of speaking to me.
It looks really, really bad. Joe Burrow just basically couldn't throw the ball.
I watched like zero of that game because I had a higher priorities on the docket, and B, I was winning my bet most of the game, so I didn't feel the need to put it on. Right. Um Titans 3.5. I don't care. Jets suck. Aaron Rodgers was 23rd by EPA, 22nd by success rate, and 18th in 2022. He's not a good quarterback. He made like 2 passes that made everybody fucking jizz their pants. But other than that, he was a mediocre quarterback, which is what he was the last time we saw him in Green Bay. Titans
And
three
Will
and a
Levis
half.
isn't going to look
Will
bad.
Levis looked fine. If he doesn't throw that pick six, he would have won last week.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't home dog. It's a nice thing. That is the only underdog I'm picking, which I don't love taking that many favorites. But yeah, do you have a take on that game?
Maybe Mike Williams comes back and isn't just a decoy and can draw some attention and, you know, actually make some noise.
That whole team is just old guys and fragile guys, which is
Yeah.
why you could get like the whole thing about the Jets, right? Was that they did the thing that like a lot of good teams in all sports do, which is get like high upside plays that you can get relatively cheaply. But like, there's a reason you can get Mike Williams for like a 1 year, $15 million contract, right?
Exactly.
There's a reason you can revamp your offensive line with names that like people who don't pay a lot of attention to offensive lines know, right? Because they have risks. And when that hits your, the 2018 Washington Capitals, or you're the Bruins team that, lost in game 7 in 2019, right? When you're able to find those old guys to take less, you're potentially this year's Oilers team, right? And Jeff Skinner and Adam Henrique's back and all that. But yeah, that's a big risk. And like the fundamental problem is in football, you need the quarterback. I just do not believe Aaron Rodgers is good at the quarterbacking thing. Also, he's a dumbass. Fuck him. Okay. You're doing Washington, Baltimore, Jacksonville, San Francisco, New Orleans, and the Colts. I am doing Baltimore, San Francisco, Washington, Jacksonville. That's the same 4 picks for us. The Chargers and the Titans. We're either going to be going down together or we are both screwed. 90 seconds. What did you think of the Kamala Harris debate?
uh, Donald Trump and his buddy Abdul can go somewhere together and hang out.
When he said that, I did just start trying to like workshop Abdul into Rock the Casbah by the Abdul don't like it.
It
Rock
was
the Casbah.
unbelievable performance by the Donald.
It's I mean the someone had the tweet, it's been going around, but like Harris said she's gonna try and bait him. Her campaign has been telegraphing she's gonna try and bait him. Republicans knew this because they kept saying, oh, he's not gonna fall for the bait. And then he very obviously fell for every single bit of bait.
Yes.
It, fantastic debate prep. Fantastic job. Even getting the 800,000 Pennsylvanians of Polish descent in the foreign policy section, like that is good staff work, and I am one to appreciate good staff work. Um, what's your best bet this week? You were wrong last week because you had Miami as your best bet. I had the Niners. What's your best bet this week?
Anyone against the Giants. So let's go with Washington,
With the commies?
who you won't find me supporting very often. I'll add.
I mean, the thing about Jaden Daniels is that if he just like can break containment twice, that's 14 points, right? So you know, which might honestly be enough to cover a 1.5 spread. I don't like how much we agreed this week, by the way. I mean, my first click was Baltimore, so I'm just gonna Baltimore.
There you go.
Thanks for coming on, buddy. At
Thank you.
Arfin
Best of
Nathaniel
luck
on
this week.
Twitter. I don't know. You're a funny follow sometimes when you're not being annoying. Um
Morose is usually a better term for it.
uh you got a LaSalle prediction?
Uh, I gotta go NDP. I don't understand where Main Street got their numbers because that's not what I'm hearing. Uh,
The answer is that Main Street has had like a decade long inability to pull progressive the progressive party on the island of Montreal.
so
See
there you go.
every single Quebec Solidaire election. Like this is actually why Keto threatened to sue Brian Burgett because because during the last Quebec election campaign, Burgett just kept pointing out Main Street's anti-Quebec Solidaire house effect. Um I'm not saying that's for sure, and I do really think that pollsters can correct those biases, right? And I certainly think Main Street is run by enough smart people that knowing that they were low on them, I'm not just like take a Main Street poll and add six points of vote share to Crixove or whatever. Um, Especially since we should be appreciative of Main Street for the fact that they pulled these, right?
And he does a good job. Like legitimately, I'll give him a lot of crap for a number of things, but Main Street in general does a good job of getting the things right on the
And also
ground.
they pull more than everybody else. Like part of the reason they have the outliers that they do is that they just pull significantly more than everybody else, right? Like, and also they were right about Toronto.
Yeah,
Like,
no, they do
I
a good
don't.
job.
But Liberals in third is my fairly strong prediction for LaSalle.
Yeah, the block does seem to be surging quite a bit on the island. So that's definitely something to watch.
Well, this isn't on the island, but you know.
Uh, it's West Island. It's
No,
almost
it's
on the
not on the
island.
island.
Okay.
This riding is quite literally not on the island.
Really?
Yes,
It's West Island. LaSalle is West Island.
but the riding isn't really LaSalle. It's off island.
Interesting. I'll have to look at the map closer. Well,
I
they
can't
haven't
believe you're
been
doing
great
this.
at West Island either.
It is the South Shore, buddy.
That's fair.
No, I'm wrong. I was looking at somebody else. No, I was like, sorry. No, I'm a dumbass. I'm a complete dumbass.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
keep this in. No, I was looking at Alexandra Mendez's seat because she came out against Trudeau on Monday.
Right.
That's the seat that's South Shore. Broussard. No, no. Of course, that's an island seat. I'm an idiot. Wow, I just had like a total brain fart moment. Um, Listen,
Good podcasting.
like and subscribe this video. I don't know. What did you just say? I didn't even hear you. What did you say?
Oh, I said good podcasting from us right here.
I Deshaun Jackson instead of Deshaun Watson, and me thinking fucking Verdun isn't on island.
Well, there you go.
Great
It's been
job,
a
bud.
long Wednesday.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me.